And what we do in that capacity, we are trying to address issues on health, mental health being one of the issues. And I'm glad that I was invited to in this platform to moderate this talk. We have 3 speakers for today, and I'm honored that I would like to confirm their presence. Kindly, David, help me with all other microphones. All right. Faith, kindly come in. Faith.
Yes.
Welcome, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Is Yalana with us? Is Yalana with us?
She's on her way. She's joining us in a few.
All right, then. Then I think we're good. We're good to go. Jane, kindly confirm your presence. Jane Guinea.
Yes, I'm around, but my name is not Jane. I'm Ngina Songo, please.
Ngini Songo.
No, don't give me Sonko. It is Ngina Songo.
Songo. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Asante. For the sake of faith, I'm Kagiri, nurse. I'm a mental health nurse, also a mental health advocate. And I'm glad to be the one to moderate this talk. For everyone who joined us today, so much welcome. We appreciate your presence. I understand the bigger audience on this will be students from Strathmore University, but I know and I want to appreciate and recognize that there'll also be other audience from other universities, mainly college students. To highlight, kindly, can we have everyone mute their mics kindly? Thank you, thank you. For this webinar, we are trying to address, or rather discuss on achieving and maintaining emotional health during college years, or in this scenario among students, college and university students. I'm glad for David and your organizers for doing this. I understand we'll also be launching a very awesome and friendly, user-friendly app for the sake of all these purposes. For those who would like, who have not had access to this, we have rather separated this talk into 3 sections or 4 of them. So we'll have every speaker taking up every section. And the first one will be on a brief preview on mental health illnesses, the common ones. Remember, these are talks that will take 1.5 hours, so we'll not have a lot of time to explore almost all the topics, but we'll try to make sure that we cover at least most of the common illnesses, and in this scenario, mental health illnesses. This will also include stress, depression, and regarding depression and suicide and homicide cases. We'll also have another speaker who will come in and talk on issues to do with relationships within campus or within or among college students. We'll also have another speaker who will be addressing how to set a balance between your education, your work, and also your other emotions and relations. Then then David will come in later to help us navigate or rather learn how to interact with the application and how to access it. But before then, for all the audience present, again, I recognize and appreciate your attendance, and again, timely attendance actually. I want to invite questions from the audience in the chat section. Now, for those who are using this for the first time, bottom right, there are 3 dots where you click more, then you'll be able to access the chat box. So finally, as we progress with the talk or with the webinar, you can type your questions there. They can be responded there, or rather, I'll make sure that they're responded by the time before we end the webinar of today. So I would humbly like to invite our first speaker in this category. She is a counseling psychologist and also a mental health advocate. Trust me, when you see her smile, I think that's enough to initiate a therapy session for you. Faith Gishanga, karibu sana.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Yes, as he has said, my name is Faith Gishanga and I'm a counseling psychologist. So I will dive right into it. We don't have so much time. And as he said, we have very many mental illnesses, so we can't tackle all of them. But first of all, I wanted just to give an understanding of, how do mental illnesses come about? Okay, so there are 2 ways that mental illnesses can come about. It can be through genetic, such that how you see some families, they are prone to either depression or they're prone to this and prone to the other. So that's one, genetic, how if it's in the genes. Okay, or secondly, the environment. So there's something we call, and I think those who are in campus, you may have come through this, nature versus nurture philosophy. So nature is what we cannot change, which is the genetic, but sometimes what we do and how we are and our behaviors and illnesses come about because of the environment we live in, which is the nurture. So environment could be because of stress. If you're in an environment where there's a lot of stress and you've grown up in an area where there's stress, whether it's financial, whether it's academic, whether it's relational, any of those things. So we are saying it's nature versus nurture. There's no concrete understanding that has been put forth and said this is the factor. So sometimes they say it's a little bit of both. Yeah, that you can have a genetic predisposition. However, so let's say something like alcoholism. Okay, so you have the genetic predisposition. We know that in my family, people are predisposed to alcoholism. But then I go through campus and I'm in this difficult relationship that are not working, which send me to start drinking. And remember, genetically, I'm predisposed. So we say it's usually it's a combination. So we say it's usually a combination. Okay, I'm hearing an echo. I don't know if it's only on my side. Can I go on?
Yes, kindly go on.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I just wanted for us to have that understanding, just the background, that mental illnesses can be a bit of both. Now, there are many times we are going through things and we think we have a mental illness, but we don't have a mental illness. For example, there's something we like to say usually a lot. If you're having a bad day, let's say you're having a bad day, you did this exam and it didn't come the way it was supposed to, maybe the results. And what do we say? I am so depressed. Now, maybe something else we need to understand about mental illnesses. They are not at a specific point in time. You don't get depressed today. You don't, so that's something else. So just again, understanding about mental illness is not a bad day, okay? Mental illness is not a bad day. It's something that must have been persisting for about, let's say at least 6 months, okay? You're feeling this kind of way, this type of way for 6 months going on, or at least 3 months and above, okay? That's when you get to know, something is not okay, but it's not a one-day kind of thing, okay? But we're not saying you ignore. If you're having a bad day today, we're not saying you ignore, but I'm just distinguishing between a bad day and mental illness, okay? Now, something else I'd like to say about mental illness. I know there's been a lot of stigma around it, but let's look at it this way. the brain is an organ. So for example, like the heart, okay? When the heart gets sick, we don't hide, we don't say, you know, my heart is sick, there's stigma around it, or I can't tell people. No, it's something we talk about. Or if my hand today, let's say, was broken and it's swollen, it's bleeding, I don't shy away and say, you know, my hand is sick, and you know. So we are saying the brain is an organ. And just like every other organ in the body, it does get sick. Okay, so one of the things that I'd like to say is, let's not stigmatize. It's not, you know, sometimes it's been said, to have mental illness, you're a weak person. No. Does it mean if today I carried something heavy or I got hit and my hand broke, that my hand is a weak hand? No. It just means that the circumstances that my hand the situation it got into, it was more overwhelming than my hand could take. So the same thing to the brain. It's an organ and it does get sick. Okay, so let's not stigmatize it. Let's take it as the same way you have malaria. What do? You go see a doctor and you get medication. So it's the same way. Let's normalize like having a mental illness. It's the same exact thing. It's an organ of the body that is not feeling well, that could get treatment. The best thing is that there's treatment. Okay, just like some chronic diseases we have, it's a lifetime. You know, you need to manage it over and over again, you know. So it's the same way. So I'd like to do that. And what are some of the ways that, you know, management happens? Sometimes it's medication. Again, that is something else. When you hear, you know, maybe your friend in campus is taking medication for one thing or the other, you know, you're like, that person is now gone. No, it's the same way. I can't go, I have malaria, and I tell the doctor, and the doctor does the test, and I have malaria, but I tell him, no, I don't want to take the medicine you're giving me. Just tell me what to go do, you know, jump up, exercise. But the doctor is like, for this particular one, you know, yes, exercise is important, but you do need to take the drug that will kill the parasites that are in your body. So the same way. So sometimes we do need to take medication, and it's not a bad thing. I'm here to say today, it's not a bad thing. Okay? Let's take medication. Let's do also counseling and some other things that I think are going to be proposed today. So I wanted to give that general background of mental illnesses. Okay. So as we said, there's so many. So sometimes we categorize the mental illnesses. And today I'm going to talk about 3 categories. I'm going to start with mood disorders because they're the ones that are more common. Here, we're talking about, you know, it's very self-explanatory from the word mood disorders. So it's when we're having emotional problems, when our moods are affected, you know. So for example, when I said it's not like depression is not a bad day, okay? It's today you're feeling very low, tomorrow you're feeling very low. A week later, you're feeling very low. 1 month later, you get, so it's not a one day that you had a bad day. So an example of a mood disorder is actually depression, where your mood goes so low, you feel emotionally so low. So I saw someone asking, how do you know you have a mental illness? Okay, some of the ways to know you have a mental illness is when you feel like you're unable to function in a normal way. And functioning, we are looking at if it's a career, if it's a job. You know, sometimes you're having a bad day, but you can still go to work. But when you find you are not going to work today, or school, you're not going to school today, you're not going to school tomorrow, you're not, you know, you're skipping your classes for a long time, okay, that's a sign that something is wrong. Yeah, and it's not that you're refusing, it's not that you're thinking, I don't want to go to school because there's an exam, is that you're feeling you are unable to. Okay, so that's one way to know when you have a mental illness. Because, and I like the question that person has asked, because, you know, when you have a physical illness, you feel pain. And so you can know you're not okay. But with mental illness, it's about how you're coping. So we look at your socialization in terms of, not socialization, in terms of how you're socializing. Have you just started withdrawing? Do you feel like being around people is so much hard work? You get, so those are some of the ways to know that something is not okay. You're withdrawing, you're not engaging things that used to make you happy. So for example, maybe you used to like playing board games or computer games, and you don't have interest in that anymore. That's a sign that something needs attention. Okay, so mood disorders, one example is that depression. Depression is just a time when you're feeling low for a very long time. Okay, and by a long time I mean at least 3 months and above. That in those 3 months, you can't remember the last day you were happy, you can't remember the last day you smiled, you can't remember that any time that you even ate food that you wanted. Okay, and other things that come with mood disorders are your appetite. Either you lose your appetite, or you have, your appetite grows because you're trying to numb the pain with food. Your sleep gets affected. You find that you're either sleeping too much or you have insomnia. So those are some of the things to look out for. Another example of mood disorder is bipolar. I'm sure we've heard that word here and there. Now, bipolar means that at one time you're going through that depression, as I have explained. But there's some other time when you have something we call mania. Mania is the opposite of depression. Mania is when you have energy. It looks like it's something good, but it's uncontrollable. You find yourself, you're taking risks. You are, doing things like, for example, you enter a car and you just want to speed, and you can't understand where that is coming from. Or you find yourself spending a lot. It's very high speed. Or you find yourself engaging in reckless sexual behavior, many sexual partners, and you just want to, have this relationship and the other. That is a season of mania, and it's usually followed by another period of depression. Okay, so bipolar means, bipolar, that there's one side that is depression, and then you swing to the other side, that is mania, where your energies are very high. And people who are having mania also can't sleep, and then your thoughts are just racing, like you can't concentrate. You find yourself, you can't concentrate, and then it's followed by depression. And there are types of bipolar, but I won't get into that. It's just for today, we just want a general understanding. So that's what mood disorders are. Okay, so let's avoid saying today I'm so depressed. No, let's avoid that. It's a sickness, and we don't want to say when you're having a bad day that's depression. Okay, let me go to the second category, anxiety disorders. I know this is also very common, especially with people, the youth. Yeah, it's one of those common psychological problems that they go through. Now, anxiety disorders it's about that. It's about anxiety. So there are times you can have an attack, a panic attack, and a lot of people say, I think I'm having a heart attack, because it almost feels like physical pain on the chest, and then you feel like you can't breathe, and then you feel faint and you feel like you want to fall down. Okay, quite a number of people, when they get a panic attack, they think it's a heart attack, but that's what a panic attack is. So, and then the heart, there's palpitations. You literally feel your heart beating. But the irony is, you can't relate to something. It just catches, you feel like it just catches up with you. It's not that you've seen something dangerous and then you went into that. Yeah, it just happens. But it has a background, of course. It has a background where it's happening. There could be something that is disturbing you mentally and psychologically in the background that is causing the anxiety disorders. It could even be something that happened to you in your childhood. Okay, that's something else. When things happen to us in childhood, they just don't go away. You might not be remembering them. You might not even, it might not be on your mind, but it continues to affect you. Okay? So these are things like, maybe you were sexually assaulted when you were young, or you suffered loss, maybe a significant person in your life passed away, or you were involved in an accident, things like that. So that's something to think about. Okay, so those are anxiety disorders, and they're very, you will know them because you feel like you're having a heart attack. Then thirdly, less common. So I've talked about mood disorders. I've talked about anxiety disorders, and I'll talk about personality disorders. Now, personality disorder is exactly that. It's from our personality trait. So let me give an example. Maybe you're this person who's very neat. Again, on the outside, it looks like a very good thing, but you're so preoccupied with arranging things that you can never get started on things. So there's a project, maybe there's a paper you need to write, but you're always gathering, you get material and gathering and feeling like this is not it, I'm not ready. Or you write the paper and you never get to submit. You never feel like it's quite ready, okay? That is not quite there's something, and we call it, sometimes I know we like to call it OCD, but it's not OCD. It's actually called OCP. It's called I'm forgetting, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Okay. In personality disorders, we also have narcissism. I know this is something, and a lot of girls have claimed, I'm sure in this forum, have girls who say that boy is narcissistic. Yeah. So narcissistic people are people who do not have the ability to empathize. They have no ability to feel your pain. Like I can look at you, I'm causing you maybe psychological pain, but I'm not able to relate with that pain. So they can do very mean things, not physically hurt you, but someone who just breaks up with you and does not give you explanations and just goes away, those are narcissistic people. And then also their life is about themselves. The minute that this relationship stops being about me, I walk away. So those are some. There are many personality disorders, but I just wanted to give those two examples. Okay. So I think my time is about up, but that's what I'd like to leave us with. So number one, that our mental illnesses can be caused either by our genetics or the environment. The environment meaning how we grow up, the care we get, or the things that we go through. All those things can cause. And we should not stigmatize people with mental illness just because they're sick. The same way someone else is sick in the heart, the same way someone else is ENT, someone else is something else. So it's the same way. We should actually help them, support them, for them to be able to get well. And because there's treatment, and I said sometimes treatment will require medication, sometimes it's just counseling or just support by friends and family. Okay. So the three categories I talked about are, number one, mood disorders, where we find depression and bipolar. Mood disorders are about your mood. Your moods are not stable. You feel you're sad and there's nothing that can change that. Or you feel so high, so elevated, and there's nothing you can do to bring that down. And so number two, I talked about anxiety disorders. Those are when we get a panic attack and you feel like you're having a heart attack. Then thirdly, I talked about personality disorders, and those have to do with our personalities. Either something in our personalities that is so ingrained and so magnified that it makes us not to be able to function normally. So for example, narcissism makes us not to be able to function properly in a relationship. OCPD makes us not to be able to function normally, maybe at work or at school, because we have to be so planned. And we can engage more as we go along. But something about suicide had been mentioned. Now you'll realize, especially the mood disorders, those are the people who are more prone to feeling suicidal, because the mood sometimes gets so low. And then another characteristic of mood disorders is feeling hopeless. So you're feeling so low, you're feeling hopeless, and it's easy to feel suicidal. But as we go along, I hope we'll talk more about that. I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Over to you, Buck.
Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you, Sana.
Welcome.
That was a good preview. That was a good introduction. At least we are now somewhere, all of us. And it was a good classification of these common disorders. I know when you come to answering your questions, kindly also consider discussing about this personality disorder called schizoid, a schizoid personality disorder. Now, besides that, our next speaker, that is Ngini Nasongo. Now, Ngini Nasongo, I don't know if she wants to speak to us in Kiswahili. She calls herself Mshauri, kazi yake ni kushauri vijana na walio. But she has a very vast line of experience from all sorts of you would think of. And again, enormous skills. And that is why we are happy to have her here also to take us now in the next topic. This being on how do we get to balance your work, your study, and again, your personal life. Because these are huge issues that are affecting the students. You want to be in a relationship, but then you're also doing a very serious course as in engineering, BBIT or a CS, and you still also want to be working part-time and all that. How do you get to set a balance regarding all this? Madam Nasongo, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone in the house. This is a great evening. Thank you very much, Faith, for that beautiful presentation. Honestly, I just wonder if you're also a trainer or a teacher like me, because you are very, very clear in the way you are explaining this. Asante sana for that, okay? So when we talk, Amos, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So when we talk about work-life balance, you know, we are referring to the level of prioritization between personal and professional activities. And remember, some of us are students and some of us also work, but we have our personal lives to live. So when we are doing all these things, it becomes a little difficult because one of these normally suffers because we are not able to distribute our time properly. And now that also leads to what we call stress. And this is a common feature of poor work-life study balance with signs and symptoms like headaches. You know, you constantly have your headaches. You are having lack of sleep, like Faith already talked about insomnia, because you can't sleep. You are thinking, how do I finish that assignment? I haven't finished it. Tomorrow is the deadline, you know, all those things. Then you have mood swings, you know, you are irritable most of the time, and then you lack concentration, poor eating habits, and withdrawal, among others. Those are some of the symptoms of situations where you're not able to balance your work, your personal life, and your study. So when we are doing this, we are telling you effects of poor work-life balance also have a way they will destroy and destabilize you. For example, you'll experience what we call fatigue. You are overly tired. This reduces your ability to work productively and think clearly, you know, hence affect your academic performance. Your performance will just drop because, for example, maybe you're newly married or you just had a baby and you must be in class. Like somebody has said, you've just fallen in love and oh my God, I must spend my time with this, you know, this heartbeat of mine or heartthrob for that matter. So it interferes with the way you're doing your work. So you spend most of the time with them, then tomorrow when you're supposed to be in class, you are tired, you are sleeping. So fatigue will get in and this will affect how you're going to perform. Then health. Long working hours can cause stress and also affect the immune system. We may wonder how, but this can be explained later. We need to be healthy from the mind, psychologically, like we've been told by Faith, for us to function normally. So again, some of the effects are no time for family and self, because you'll feel like you are on a roller coaster forever because you haven't accomplished this. You're doing that tomorrow. You're always running around, you know, until sometimes you forget yourself. So this will leave you feeling lonely and left out and could damage your relationships because you feel like you don't have time for other people. Then we have increased expectations. You know, extra working hours might lead to an extra responsibility. This can cause extra stress and challenges. And you know, when you keep showing your boss that you can work and work and work, they'll just keep stretching you. You need to talk and tell them, hey, I'm only able to do what I can do up to this time, okay? Then we are saying, in spite of all that, there is a way we can manage all these situations. And how do we do that? Be intentional about your learning and what you hope to achieve. You have gone to college, yes. You know you are a parent, yes. You know you are yourself, yes, you have your life. Put into, you know, you have something like, you know, you put on your door and say, do not disturb. You know, get into that mode so that people around you, people in your circle will know around this hour, Ngini cannot be seen because she has time for her books now. Or this is her time, her family time. Set yourself some goals. What do you want to achieve in a day? And when you talk about goals, we are not saying have long-term goals. Small ones are also okay because they now move you towards achieving the big goals. So what are you working towards? For example, if you're in college, maybe you've come back to do your master's. What do you want to achieve? Even if you are now studying for your first degree, what grade do you want to achieve? So have some goals. Be specific about what you plan to achieve in that time. When you talk about specific, we are saying, yes, you have gone to college. What do you want to leave that college with? Some of us sometimes get very blessed, we live even with children. But is that what you really wanted when you are going there? So be specific. What do I want? What has taken me to this college? Create room for thoughts by prioritizing your personal time. Having time away from your work and study is essential to unwind. We are not saying just read, or work. No, create time also for me. Me time. It allows for thought and creativity, enabling you to think about what you have studied. Get away from those books and then have some moment and say, okay, today we did psychotherapy. What did we learn? Maybe we did psychopharmacology. What did I get? Can I go back to my books and revise and get maybe more information? Another thing is avoid procrastination. By the way, this is very common. I also do it, but I know the dangers. So when you procrastinate, it means what you are supposed to do today, you're telling yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. After all, the lecturer said the cut, we are handing it tomorrow. We are doing the cut in the next 3 days. And therefore you don't study today. Believe you me, I have seen this. When that cut approaches, you are now reading and you're in panic mode. There is nothing you remember. Everything now sounds like it's new. You read a sentence like 10 times. You get to the end and you come back, you're like, what have I read? Because of procrastination. So avoid it because it will keep adding more stress at the top of your daily workload. So consider having a day off. We have said, everybody, just like a machine, for example, needs a break. You also need to give your body a break. Love yourself. What are you doing for yourself? Take time off, to get some strength to keep you going. Okay. Then avoid multitasking. Multitasking consumes more of your energy than usual. The best way to complete a task is to finish it and then move to another one. Some of us, for example, I'm just giving an example. You are studying for an exam, for example, tomorrow or a cut, but you just have your phone by your side. You're always, every alert, every notification you are going to eat, every notification. So which one do you want to do? Do you want to read or do you want to look at your phone? We are saying, please, if it is study time, let it be study time. If it's time for your work, let it be time for your work, unless your work also involves using the phone. That way, then maybe you know how to manage it. But if you are studying and you want to get something good, keep away that phone. Avoid distractions. Social media and friends can be very distracting. Focus is very important to complete one task and move to another. I'm sorry to say this many times, and I've seen this because I'm also a trainer. A girl is in class or a boy is in class, a young man, and then a friend of his sends a message and says, it's time for us to leave. And the guy just leaves. Or somebody comes to your house and they tell you, let's go somewhere. And you're preparing or you need to be working and doing something. You have a task ahead of you. You just easily get distracted. I wonder, how do you manage your time? Remember, each one of us is given 24 hours only. Each one of us. Nobody is given 23, nobody is given 23 or 24 and a half, nobody. We all have 24 hours. So at the end of the day, ask yourself, how have I utilized my time? Has it helped me to, moving towards achieving my goal? Because you talked about goals. Has it done that for you? You need to be driven by that. Then stick to a schedule. Write things up or down, make notes, plan well, and you will find it much easier to balance your life between study, work, and personal life. So that you're not just caught in between things and you're like, oh my God, I forgot I should have done this. Write it down. And we say prioritize and say, today I have three activities to accomplish. 9 to 10, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like we are having this moment. We are not going to be here the whole day or the whole evening. Just like we didn't start in the morning. So how do you want to do your work? Schedule it and know from 8 to 10, I'll be at my place of work. Or from 8 to 5, I will be at my place of work. Then from 5:30 to 8:30, I will be in class. After that, I'm going home. I'll spend another 30 minutes with my family members or whatever it is you want to do for yourself. And then have it as a routine. Stick to it. Stick to it. Know what time you're going to sleep. Know what time you're going to do your other stuff so that you also don't mess yourself up. Then we are saying not managing evaluation anxiety. Some students fear completing tasks because they fear discovering how good or poor they are in a particular unit. I think Faith talked about something like that. You become a bit too careful and you become too conscious. Some of the people affected by this are those we call perfectionists. You just want to be perfect. You can't be. You can't be perfect in this life. So that can really affect how you're going to function. And therefore, it will interfere with your performance, for example. And you'll now start feeling and getting so stressed and eventually getting depressed because you're like, I did this, but I'm not getting what I want. How are you managing your time? Do you stick to a schedule, or every time a friend comes, you're like, okay, I will do it, you procrastinate? That is going to interfere with you a great deal, okay? Then take care of your health. Eat well, okay? When you say eat well, please, it's okay occasionally to have that pizza. It's okay. It's okay to have that burger, but eat a meal, food that is going to build your body. Food that, especially now that you're in college, you need a lot of vitamin C. And now, especially because of Corona, we really need to eat a lot of stuff that is going to build our immunity. Get adequate rest. When you talk about rest, we're saying at least have 7 hours of good sleep, maximum, quality sleep. But some of us go to bed and then we have our phones with us. We've gone to bed at 10, okay. But 1, 2, 3, you are still on your phone. And then you have a class at 5 or 6 in the morning. When you wake up, you're so fatigued. You're so disoriented, you're tired. That is not good. And then we say, have physical exercise. How often do we do this? I'm aware that there are some universities that have stairs. So instead of using the lift, is it possible for you just to run up the stairs? Because maybe you may not have extra time to do these exercises. But physical exercise, run up and down the stairs, it's quite okay. But if you also have time, wherever you are, at least 30 minutes of good physical exercise that is going to make you break a sweat is going to be quite adequate for you as a person. I want to talk briefly about procrastination, and this is the avoidance of doing a task that needs to be accomplished by a certain deadline. Like I said, you say, you'll do it tomorrow. It could be further stated as habitual or intentional delay. It does not mean you're lazy, by the way, no. This is the intentional delay of starting or finishing a task, despite knowing it might have negative consequences. Most of the learners procrastinate, especially in the second and third year of studying, because you feel like you're used to the system. And this simply means low performance and low grades. Eventually, you'll see that. Causes of this procrastination: fear of failure and control loss. Lack of proficiency and interest in some units lead to procrastination. Some people say, now this maths, this unit is just terrible. I really don't understand it. Therefore, you push it aside. That does not make you improve at all. It only makes it more complicated, okay? Then not managing anxiety, like we said, and sometimes you also have low esteem and lack of confidence. When we get into an institution, for example, if it's a boarding place, anyway, even if it's a day thing, we meet different people from totally different backgrounds. Some of us start feeling lesser people, Some of us start feeling like I don't belong because I don't come from this, That is how life is, by the way. There is no uniformity anywhere. That is what we call social stratification. There are people who are up there, there are those who are in the middle, and there are those who are low. But ask yourself, what has taken me to this institution? If I have come, it means I want to improve myself. Then focus on what has brought you there. You'll never be like another person. You can only improve yourself. So work on improving your self-esteem. And like you'll be told by other counselors, yes, we help you. If you come for support, we'll help you to improve that and even develop your confidence. How do you overcome this? Becoming aware of self, reflect on reasons why you procrastinate, your habits and thoughts that lead to procrastinating. What is making me do this? Assess what feelings lead to procrastination. How does it make you feel? when you don't do your work today or in that time that you're supposed to do it. Then outlook, alter your perspective, change your perception of things. Look for what's appealing about what you want to get out of an assignment beyond just that grade. Like some of us now, we are counselors, we're able to talk to you. Maybe we didn't even get the kind of grades you imagine we got, but we did it because we want to do this kind of work. Beyond just that grade, how else do I want to use the knowledge that I have? I'm using it to support somebody else. Yes, so have that good outlook, change your perception. It's not just about you getting first class honors. What else do you want to do with these grades? Then commit. If you feel stuck, start simply by committing to complete a small task. Like I said, when you have a goal, start small. They say for every journey, you start with a journey of 1,000 kilometers or whatever, you start with one step. Any task and write it down. Write down a to-do list, only what you can completely commit to and follow through no matter what. If you say, I'm going to revise human sexuality today, sit down and do that. What particular area of this topic do I want to understand? Do it. By and by, you will get there. It always starts with one step. Then what are the surroundings? When doing schoolwork, choose wisely where and with whom you are working. There are some of us who have very serious storytellers. They want to update you on everything that is happening around, and that just distracts you. So avoid studying in a bar, at a cafe, or with friends unless it's a group discussion. Now, I want to say again, I think you have your goals. Focus on what you want to do, not what you want to avoid. Focus on what you want to do. Think about the bigger picture. Where do I want to be after this? Then be realistic. Achieving goals and changing habits take time and effort to be realistic with your goals. Then self-talk. When you are alone, what kind of things do you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself that I can? Or do you look at somebody who has gotten A every time and you're like, oh my God, I can never be like that? Why not? You can try. But again, we are saying we can't all be the same. You know, don't say things like, I wish I hadn't done 1, 2, 3, 4. Just say, I will do it. Let us change from negative self-talk to positive self-talk. Then unschedule. Have a flexible schedule that allows you to slot in only what is necessary to avoid feeling like you're overwhelmed. And remember to reward yourself. Occasionally tell yourself, oh man, I did something so good. I think I owe myself an ice cream. Do it. Do it. Bless yourself for those small achievements. This includes time management. How are you managing your time? Okay. Then I have a few procrastination quotes here. Until you value yourself, you will not value your time. Until you value your time, you will not do anything with it. This is by somebody called M. Scott Peck. The only difference between success and failure is the ability to take action. Yes, you didn't prepare yesterday, but you want to do well. Then what do I need to do? Ask yourself. Then do something. That is now what will bring about the difference between success and failure. That is according to Alexander Graham Bell. We all know what he did. Now, be conscious, be deliberate, and intentional about positive change. It will only take you to make that change that you so wish to have, to experience fun in your academic journey. It can be very frustrating. So let us do that. Let us be intentional, let us be deliberate, and let us be conscious. So when you make that about time, it's because you want. It's because you know what it is you want. And it's because you know your journey. Every day before you sleep, ask yourself, what have I done today that is moving me towards achieving my goal? So much of these things will need a lot of sacrifice, a lot of denying yourself a lot of things, sometimes even friends, but because you know you're looking at the bigger goal. And those are my words. Thank you so much. I think I am within my time and I want to leave it at that. Back to you, Amos. Thank you.
Thank you, Sana, Ngina, for that presentation. What majorly I can borrow is that we need to visualize the glass half full rather than half empty when we are doing all this. There are a lot of questions that are coming up, and I appreciate the audience for that.
Yes.
Yeah, but before we do the questions, before you respond to the questions, I wish to welcome the next speaker, Yelana. Yelana is young. I would say she's the only one who is kind of young like me, but she has also the verse. She has the zeal and the willingness to also push for this agenda, and that is why actually we are here, because we also want to make sure that these youths also have, us as youths also have this knowledge, this know-how, because we are the peers to most of the biggest or the most vulnerable population in regards to mental illnesses. Yelana, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
Karibu sana.
So I'll be taking you guys through relationships. So give me a second. So, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. I'm sure we've all heard of this saying before. One of our biggest investments that we make in life is deciding who we choose to surround ourselves with our friends, and also the relationship with ourselves is of primal importance. In book 7 Habits, they say relationships are like investments. If one person is putting all of the efforts into making a relationship work, most likely they'll feel like they're going at a loss because they're not getting the same amount of energy back. However, in a good relationship, both of them put in equal amounts of effort to make sure the relationship works. Like you can see here, if a tree is only being weeded, but it's not, like the weeds are being uprooted, but it's not being watered, it won't really grow. If it does, it won't be so strong. So yeah, that's one of the definitions. Why it's important to have a good relationship with ourselves. We understand the things that we like and those that we dislike. We're also able to explore our strengths and our weaknesses. We're also able to, strengths and weaknesses. You can learn that maybe you're good at public speaking, maybe you're good at art, music. You also learn the things that you're not so good at, so you give yourself time to work on them and become better. We also we're able to understand our limits, and in turn we're able to set boundaries with our friends. For example, if I don't like being out past 10, my friends can't come to my place at 9:50 and they're like, yo, Stella, let's go out. They'd already know that I'm not good with that, like going out of the house. So they'd come to me earlier and maybe they'd tell me at 7 or something. Yeah, we're also able to understand the things that we need to unlearn and learn again. When we're growing up, sometimes as kids, you can't really have a say because someone can teach you something that's not good, like the way, some men can be taught that catcalling is good, but it's not good, it's not respectful to women. And you grow up thinking, this is fine, she's a woman, she's attractive, so she knows this is how we react to them, but it's not respectful. So those are some of the things that you need to unlearn. Also, like racism, tribalism, those are not things that are good, but the things we grow up with. So sometimes they become part of us. Yeah. Why it's important to develop a good relationship with others. The people we surround ourselves with are really important, by the way, because peer pressure is real, you guys. Whether we know it or not, sometimes we're influenced by the things that our friends do. For example, we see them doing something and it works for them. We're like, maybe I should try this too, you know? Yeah. I was hoping you guys could be able to tell me some of the examples of peer pressure, both positive and negative. Amos, is that okay? Do we have time for that?
We'll consider that. Huh?
Okay, so let me just go on.
Okay.
Good friends always want what's best for you as they strive to do what's best for them. Because I mean, what type of friend would want to see you winning when they're just at the back there chilling, watching? That's not dope. I mean, it's not nice, sorry. A good friend also respects your boundaries and wouldn't impose things on you, like I had explained earlier. I hope you guys are ready for a story. It's a short one, I'll summarize it, but I'm sure most of you might have heard it when we were growing up. It's about this eagle. Okay, let me just start from the beginning. So basically, there was this eagle chick. It was a chick, it fell out of the nest. And obviously, if it's a chick, it can't fly. So some chicken farmer was walking and he came across the chick and decided that he was going to take it back to his home and raise it amongst his chickens. So this eagle has grown up believing that it's a chicken because it's been raised by a chicken as well and everything. So it eats from the ground, it can't even fly and everything. It doesn't believe it has potential. So time goes and some guy eventually hears that there's a eagle being raised by chickens and acts and everything like a chicken. So he's like, no, this is not right. Let me go and do something about it. So he goes and talks to the farmer. The farmer is like, there's nothing you can do. It believes it's a chicken. So since it believes it's one. It's a chicken. So the guy, let's call him Amos. Hope you don't mind.
Right.
Okay, so he takes the eagle and he's like, he talks to it, he's like, you're an eagle, you're supposed to fly. So he puts the eagle on the fence and he tells it to fly. But it's scared and it sees the chicken coop and it's like, I'm a chicken, let me just go down and continue doing my thing. So the guy's disappointed, but he comes back the next day. He's like, let me try again. Amos comes, he takes the eagle, puts it on top of the farmhouse. But the eagle sees the chicken coop and the farm, and it's like, I'm a chicken, I can't fly, let me just stay. So it just jumped down and went and continued eating stuff from the ground. So this guy was very discouraged, but she was like, I will try one more time. If it doesn't work, that's it. So the next day he came, he took the farmer and the eagle to a mountain. And he made sure that the eagle couldn't see the farmhouse or the chicken coop. So at the top of the mountain, he tells the eagle, you're an eagle, you belong in the sky. He showed him the sun and everything. Says like, I believe in you and everything. So the bird actually, it stretched its wings and it flew because now it didn't have anything to look back on and think it's a chicken. It just saw its natural environment, and I think it also believed in its potential. And I think also seeing that Amos believed in him made him want to fly, him or her, whatever. So yeah, basically, my understanding from this story is we need to know who we are, where we've come from, and where we're going. Because like some people they'll see you and they'll just think, this one doesn't have potential to do anything. Then they're just one of us, so they're not going anywhere. Sometimes people will see your potential and they'll be intimidated by it, and they'll just want to do whatever they can to keep you down with them. So that is why it's very good to like surround yourself with people that believe in you and want the best for you. Don't worry, I'm almost done. So this is the Johari window. It basically has to do with that whole thing I was telling you. So this part is what's known to you and also known to others. Like the person you are in public. This is, everyone knows you. Like they know Amos for being Amos, they know Faith for being Faith. That's the person we let people see. And then there's stuff that's known by myself. For example, like me, the stuff that I know about myself that the public doesn't know about me. That's the blind spot that I have. And then the stuff that's known by me, but not, that's the hidden, sorry. And then the stuff that's known by other people, but not known by us. That's the blind spot, sorry for the confusion. Like for example, with the story with the eagle, Amos he saw the potential in the eagle and believed that he had what it took to fly. So sometimes we don't believe that we have the potential to fly, but other people can see it in us. So that's why we need good people around us. And then there's stuff that we just don't know yet because we haven't been in situations that demand us to show that side of us, or I hope that makes sense. So yeah, it's good to put ourselves out there and explore our capabilities. We're also able to discover new things and increase our prowess with the things that we do know, and also work on our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. So once again, surrounding ourselves with people that know and appreciate our worth is important because they're sometimes able to notice the potential in us way before we can. So yeah, choose your friends wisely, my guys. The end. Thank you.
Karibu sana. Yalana Stella, before you go, I think
Yeah.
you'll start us off. And thank you, by the way, for making this. I see you have an aspect of humor and animation also. Thank you for doing that. Huh?
Okay. So
Yeah,
how may I be of assistance?
Start us off with listing or giving us maybe one or two available resources or helplines that are available for us youths when we want to seek or we need help.
Personally, I feel like the first thing it's easier to talk to your friends. Sometimes there's this stereotype that if you go and talk to a psychologist or you have mental illness, even when you don't, which is completely understandable, but also sometimes just open your mind, guys. So I think it's important to have good friends because your friends will listen to you and they won't judge you. But if you feel like that's not something you're comfortable with, you could find a psychologist. They're actually very accessible. You can find them online. You can also talk to us. I'm sure David will say more about his app later. But yeah, funny thing is, we're really scared of approaching people and asking for help. But it's so funny because people just love giving help. Like whether we know it or not, the people are really willing to help. It's just you to try. Yeah, that's what I believe.
No, right. Asante sana. Thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you so much for gracing this and sparing your time for this. Keep that. I'll raise more questions that you'll be responding to. But yeah, for now, Faith, if you're with us, I think you'll do us the honors of responding the first questions. Actually, there are a lot of questions, but I'll give some to you, and then Madam Nasongo will also answer some of them. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. All right. There's someone who asked about whether a mental illness can make you feel worthless. There's also someone who asked, when do you then seek for assistance? Having in mind that there are people who would seek a second opinion or feel they want to talk to someone when things are really out of hand, but the others would like maybe to seek help or would recommend seeking help early in advance. So when is the best time to call for help or ask for help? And again, there's someone also who asked about how do we fight our weaknesses? Regarding the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and all that. So how do we fight our weaknesses? But first, maybe you can initiate by saying, do we need to fight our weaknesses? And if we need to, how then should we go about it? Floor is yours.
Thank you, Amos. I'm really enjoying being here. I think just seeing a generation that is so pro mental health. I think you guys are the hope for mental health. Our generation, we are fighting that. So it's just good to see you guys excited about it, talking about it. Yalana, that's a very good presentation. And also my colleague Ngine. And yes, I'm a trainer, Ngine. I guess it takes one to know another. I'm also a counseling trainer, so maybe you notice that. All right. Okay. So let me get to the question. So about feeling worthless, I think that I talked about. That's one of the hallmark of depression. Okay, one of the things is that you feel hopeless and you feel worthless. But let me combine that with a question someone asked about self-diagnosis, because I feel it's important. I need to address that now. One of the things I think as a profession, anyway, let me give an example. Even now during COVID, okay, we have some symptoms we are checking. Yeah, we know if you are feeling like this, if you're feeling like that, you may have COVID, okay, COVID-19. But it's not a guarantee that you have it. What makes you sure that you have it? It's until you go and do the test, and the test comes out positive is when you confirm. The same with mental health. Okay, so even if you're feeling worthless, I don't want someone to say they're feeling worthless, hence they're depressed, or they're feeling a certain way, hence they have a mental disorder. Let's avoid self-diagnosis. There are some online forms, and there's some ways you can check to see, okay, yeah, it's matching this and it's matching that. But it is not 100% guarantee that you have the mental illness. So the only way for guaranteed diagnosis is through an assessment. Yeah? So that you need, that one you need a professional, either a psychologist or a psychiatrist. They can do the assessment, and they're the only ones, that assessment test is the only one that can definitively diagnose you. Okay, so let's not self-diagnose. But yes, it's true, mental illnesses and especially the mood disorders can make you feel worthless. It's a very common sign of that. But so are many other things, even lack of self-esteem. Okay, some lack of self-esteem can still make you feel the same way. So that's why I'm saying let's avoid self-diagnosis and say I'm feeling this way, hence this is what I'm suffering from. Okay. I think the other question that you asked me, Amos, was at what point can you get help? As a counselor, I will tell you at the earliest possible. You know, it's just the same way. Again, I want us to treat mental health with the same seriousness that we treat physical health. You know, when you have a cut, you don't say, let it bleed some more, so that, you know, if it bleeds this much, you know, the minute you realize that I'm not able to lift things with this hand because of that cut, it means there's a problem. So the same way psychologically, when you're not functioning normally, okay? If you're having a bad day, but you're still able to go to class and you're still socializing with your friends, maybe once in a while, that's okay. But the minute you feel you're not able to function, it's your functionality that we look at here, yeah? Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's a breakup and everyone else seems to be you know, moving on after their breakup, but you're finding yourself, it's been 1 week, you're still very sad, you don't want to go to class, you're feeling worthless, you're feeling hopeless, please go see someone. And it doesn't have to be, it's the thing that everyone else is suffering from. It could be something else, maybe a failed test. And for everyone else, it's a very common thing. But I've seen, especially med students, there are med students I have seen in my counseling room, for them failing one exam makes them doubt, some of them, not all of them. I've had med students who come and doubt everything they know. They're like, if I failed that one paper, what if that was someone whose life was depending on me? Yeah. So while anyone else fails an exam, they resit and they move on. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be, it's not difficult for everyone else.
Where'd she go?
Faith, are you still with us?
Technology issues.
Hello, am I back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a momentary blackout. Okay,
Sorry, sir.
all right. So yeah, so just when you feel you're not functioning well, then you can go. Somebody asked about how to deal with the weakness. And Amos, you're right. Sometimes we don't always have to fight our weaknesses, okay? I like the Johari window that Yalana has talked about. Self-awareness. Self-awareness means that I am not 100% all the time. There are some things that are not very positive. There are some things that I probably need to work on, but it's okay. I need to accept both my positive and my things that I need to work on. So you don't always have to fight them you can't be 100% human being all the time. So it's okay, but we can work on them, because also you don't want to have the excuse that I am both good and I have weaknesses. It's to accept them, to be able to.
You're frozen again.
Yeah, let's see if she'll be back.
Areas that you need help, or what people perceive you of, or such things. Thank you. Back to you, Amos.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for responding to those questions. Actually, almost all of the questions. Huh? I think, Madam
Amos?
Nasongo, yes,
Amos.
yes,
Okay, nilikuwa nataka kuuliza.
okay,
Hello?
yes, Nikki.
Okay, nilikuwa na depression nilikuwa na depression 2019. Alafu siku hizi napatanga nikiwa na hizo moods zenye alikuwa naongelea ya sometimes food, also usingizi, depression nikaa ugonjwa ya kawaida, kaa tuseme homa venye nashikanga mtu inaweza nishika tena.
Can I answer a bit of that first before Faith takes over?
Sawa.
From what I've learned,
Nikki, let someone answer your question kindly.
From what I've learned, okay, I'll just speak. From what I've learned, sometimes the mental illnesses that we go through them again. Like depression, because like if you've been able to get to such a low point, it's very easy to get back there. That's why it's harder for people who've had these things for a long time to get through them.
Sawa. Thank you. I think Madam Nasongo can finalize on that question, and also as she gets to answer the question regarding multitasking. There's someone who asked, what if you have two responsibilities at the same time? How do you go about it? Maybe in 1 or 2 minutes she can do that. Madam Nasongo.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you, Alana, for responding to that question. Yes, depression can be a long-term kind of illness. It doesn't just go away, because we still live in an environment where there are triggers, things that will trigger that, what made you initially get that problem. So maybe you have been exposed to the same triggers, and therefore the whole thing looks like it's coming back. We need to address that. Thank you very much. Now, when it comes to multitasking means you are doing two things at the same time within the same hour.
Yeah.
But when you have a job and you're also studying, you can't be in class and at the same time you're doing your work. So it is okay, and that's why I was saying, is it possible for you to learn how to manage your work and learn how to allocate time appropriately and say, I will come from class and then I'll be looking at my work. Or I'll be coming from my work and I'll be focusing for the next 30 minutes, 1 hour on my work or my study. Learn how to balance this. How are you apportioning time? How are you apportioning time? When I talked about multitasking, is you having your phone, you're chatting with your friends, and you're also doing your assignments. That is the kind of multitasking that is not going to be very productive. Thank you, Amos.
Karibu sana. Before we get to the next point, there is also this question that has not been answered regarding the role of friendships in mental health. You get, maybe there's a friend you realize needs help, or rather is seeking help. What is your role, you as a friend, regarding this? Maybe in 30 seconds, Madam Nasongo.
The role of friendship in what is it again?
The role of friendship in helping one
Yes.
who is handling a mental illness, past stress, say depression, or something of the sort.
Okay, thank you very much again. Just like Faith said, when we self-diagnose ourselves, sometimes we get it wrong. But we are not saying a friend cannot help you. When you're listening to somebody, already you're offering some kind of counseling, but just using those skills. You may not be as professional as you would do it as professionals, but listening to that person may be helpful up to that point. And remember, when you're talking to a friend, what you're doing is just advising them based on what you would have done to yourself. But when you come to a counselor, we shall be looking at it differently. Yes, a friend can help you just for that time, maybe to stabilize you, but the best thing would be to seek professional help. A friend will be there because you need to talk to somebody. They will listen to you at that particular time. But please seek professional help, especially if it's going to interfere with your day-to-day functioning. Thank you.
Thank you, sana. Eunice, you have a question? Eunice, your hand is up. Eunice. All right. I think the next point is a very serious one on this aspect. Now we want to also welcome David. David will introduce us and also help us in how to access this app. There is an app that they want also to make sure that we can access, so that we can also have access to the information, more resources, and also counselors and psychologists on a single platform. How great! It's a lot of creativity on it, and it pulls everything together for us to access. David, kindly take the floor.
Thank you, Amos, for that. I think I'll let my colleague Dominic present, and at the end we'll have the opportunity of answering some questions from the audience. Dominic, over to you.
Thank you, David, for the introduction. So let me share my screen. Okay, so we are Doctors Live, and the motivation behind being in the mental health care space comes from our own personal experiences. We come from our own personal experiences and also the state of the mental health care in the country. First of all, Doctors Live is an organization which is trying to figure out how to use technology to better solve the problems with mental health care. So so the motivation behind the creation of the app is the fact that there are few psychologists in the country, and the population that needs care in the country is compared to the population that needs care in the country, like over 12 million people in Kenya will benefit from access to mental health care. And also the area for therapy is highly unregulated because there's no like single body that regulates mental health care. And also the issue of there's no really standardized price. And also apart from that, okay, I have sometimes it's hard even to know whether you have a mental health problem. And let's say maybe you've been able to figure out you have a mental health problem. Sometimes, even if you've figured out, like, how do you now approach getting the care? Because like which psychologists and counselors do you think will be best to serve you, depending on like your need? And like also from that aspect, also there's that aspect of like stigma around the mental health care. So like these are the problems you are trying to use like technology now to solve it for the individual and the community. So I'll play the video for the video introduction for the app. Then after that, I will continue talking about the platform in more general. Give me a second. So I'll go into details about the platform and how like it works and everything. So basically, we are trying to build a platform that's there's very little friction to you getting the care that you need. And like the way we approach it, like there's a situation where maybe you're not sure about whether about like whether you need to get the care, and like so you need an assessment on maybe your levels of depression and anxiety, and so for that we have a mental health assessment. Is the standardized test recommended by World Health Organization, and so the assessment will be able to tell you whether you have like we able to rate your level of depression and anxiety and whether you will benefit from seeing a therapist. Then after taking the assessment, we'll be able to filter for you a list of therapists who are best suited to help you. And then after getting to see after being shown the list of the therapists, you can see their background, like their education background, how many years of experience they have, and also their focus areas, whether it's depression, anxiety, addiction problems, whether eating disorders, whether it's traumatic cases. And so like after seeing their focus areas and also the languages they speak, and you're okay with everything they have, you can choose your fit of therapist. And then after choosing that, you get to schedule an appointment with them. And after that, you make a payment. We try to make our services affordable. Then after finishing with the appointment booking, you get to add your event to calendar so that you get a notification, even though us will also send you a notification when the time for appointment comes. So basically, this is the screenshots containing like the way the app is. Like we have this assessment for depression and anxiety. So after taking it, you can figure out whether you'll get benefit from seeing a therapist. Then after that, we show you a list of therapists we have, and you can browse their backgrounds, their focus areas, and their languages they speak. And from that, you can able to choose what you feel like is your best fit. Then after doing all that, you'll get to be reminded when the appointment times comes, and you get to have a video call that's adds security feature so that it's only you and your therapist that can access it. So after getting to have a video call, you can have you fill now a feedback form containing maybe their experience with the therapy, and so how better we can help the service even more and more. We try to make the service as best as we can. Also, after having the therapy session, we also figure out how best to make the service better for you in the follow-up sessions of the initial visit. So apart from all this, like making it a very fast way for you to access therapists and have sessions at the privacy of your home from our platform, we also have a set of self-care tools. And these self-care tools, they are based on evidence-based methods, like they're clinically validated to be effective. And also the purpose of the self-care tools is to be able to assist someone, even though you're not seeing a therapist, you have a list of tools that you can use. So you'll also find the app useful for you. And even after seeing the therapist, you'll also have some tools that will help you keep practicing what was taught in therapy. So the self-care tools can be like things to do with mindfulness, meditation. It can also be like, how do you deal with depression, and quick tips on how to deal with depression and anxiety. Also relationship issues, maybe how to set boundaries, which types of boundaries are there, and also maybe how to have a more peaceful relationship, like a mindful relationship. It can also be things to do with like just like how do you like for example, the importance of gratitude and how it has been shown to help you get a better perspective to improve your mental health. So basically, these self-care tools are prepared by therapists, and just as the mission of the company is to improve like access to mental health care. We believe that by giving access to therapists, and at the same time, not only doing that, also giving access to self-care tools, we can be able to serve more and more people because it's instantly available for you at any moment that you might need. So why use Doctors Live? when you compare to the traditional way of seeking care, or maybe other people trying to do the same. For us, we make the process very fast to get a mental health practitioner. So, because we can all find them on the platform anytime, and depending on how they set up their schedules, the care is always accessible 24/7. So whether it's during the day, whether it's at night, whether it's weekend, holidays, if the therapy is available there, you'll be able to have access to them. So they'll be of a wide variety of the available spots, so slots that are available for appointment booking. And so by that also you get to have it, like the scheduling is flexible for you. So you'll be able to find that therapists at the time that you want to find them. And also switching a mental health practitioner, we don't charge anything, just a matter of getting in contact with us and we can switch a mental practitioner. You can even browse a list of practitioners and switch it yourself. So so the video platform, the privacy is one of the main things that we focus on and when building this platform, because we want to provide a private way of having sessions with therapists. So the private video is only accessible to you and your therapist, nobody monitoring it, nobody can see it, nobody can access it, only you, specifically on your therapist. And we make our services as affordable even to students to be able to pay out of pocket for their services. So we are fortunate to work with we have wonderful partners. We have Kenya Association of Professional Counselors. They're offering us well-trained, well-experienced counselors, and they are regulating those counselors, those counseling psychologists practice. So you can always be assured. Yeah. Hello. You can.
Dominic, we lost you.
You lost me. You lost me at which point?
We can hear him. I can hear him properly.
I can hear you.
Oh, sawa.
So the purpose of partnering with Kenya Association of Professional Counselors is to have a body that can provide well-trained, highly experienced psychologists, and also they regulate their practice. So you can always be sure that the therapists you have on the platform are very ethical, because you want to provide a platform that you can always trust the psychologist. So apart from the internal process we have for looking at psychologists, also have an external body that's helping us doing that and offering psychologists that you can trust. We also have fortunate to partner with Tubonge Kenya, which is a mental health awareness platform. And also the University of Nairobi Students Association. We're also fortunate to partner with our mental health committee. Also, we are part of the Pangaea Accelerator for startups. So we are open to getting more and more partners. So if you're in the audience and you're interested in, maybe you're part maybe of an organization or a committee and you're interested that's in the mental health arena, and you're interested in getting partnership with us so that you can offer high quality access to mental health care to the community, we're open to the collaboration. So you can contact us on all our platforms. We're almost everywhere. So I'll post a link to the app in the chats, and in the meantime you can be free to type your questions. Maybe David, you can.
Yeah. I can add some few things. So basically our platform is trying to help people get mental health services at their own space. So if we can do something now, I think we can we can take our phones, go to Play Store and download Doctors Live. So our iOS product is coming very soon, just in 1 week. We'll have our iOS product, but now you can download our Play Store Android version for the app. Over to you, Amos.
Thank you so much, Dominic and David. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. I'm so much glad that this is coming up, because most of the times we do tell to our clients or rather our friends, you go seek help, but you never actually specify or rather say, where does this person go and seek help? That is usually a huge problem, but we don't really take it into consideration. So imagine for me, for Faith, or even for Madam Nasongo, just saying, go seek help, just go to your Play Store and check this up and you'll get all the help that you need at a single click. This is so awesome. Thanks to Dominic and David. It's a work well done. For the audience, keep the questions coming, keep them flowing. Now, remember, we also have available. Yes?
I have a question.
Someone. All right, ask the question, can you?
Okay, I want to ask about the app. So I was asking, assuming like maybe one has a financial problem, and could be that one cannot afford to pay for the thing to attend the therapy session online, or maybe that about the app now. So I'm asking, is there a way like maybe an alternative for you to reach the person, or maybe someone can text you guys so that you can maybe help him by maybe advising him through the text, or maybe any other alternative? Then again, about the app, is there a way like maybe you can click directly if you're maybe suffering from depression, stress, anxiety, or maybe self-esteem, so that you can match you directly to the professional of that sector, maybe depression therapist. Thank you.
All right. Dominic or David, who can answer those questions?
Okay, I will take the second question. I think Billy can answer the first one, or Dominic. So basically, how our platform works, you'll go to the platform. If you have depression, you'll be able to see the profiles of available psychologists on the platform, and be able to know that who focuses on depression or anxiety. But in the future, we are trying also to integrate an algorithm that can match accurately clients to psychologists, without you as a patient going to the platform and looking for someone who can help you. Billy or Dominic?
If they're not available, you can go on, I think.
Okay. For the first question was on if someone is not able to pay for the services, how can we help them? So currently, we don't have such model on our platform where people can get service for free, but we are hoping in the future we'll be able to do a campaign and help youth and people living in remote areas or unprivileged neighborhood to get mental health services. But still, you can download our app and get self-care tools, which can teach you more about depression and it's like a virtual psychologist, but it's not a real psychologist. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. I like how you've actually answered the first question regarding the tools that are available and the resources. Because remember also, and I know Faith and Madam Nasongo will agree to this, that it's better to prevent this than having to address the issue at a curative level. So the resources are able to help you prevent, or prevent from getting to that point of stress or depression. And so if you're able to do that, that's better actually. And that is for free. Thank you so much. For also the counseling services, remember there are also organizations that offer pro bono meaning free counseling services. I know Red Cross have a toll-free line that's available 24/7, that's 1199. That's a commonly one that's used. So they have counselors on call who respond to clients who make the call. We also have Befrienders Kenya. They also have it's not a toll-free, it's a number actually. There's an Airtel number and a Safaricom number for that. Then I know Tubonge also have a number. I'm not sure if it's a number or a toll-free number, but I'll check that, then I'll send in the chat section. I also know of Niskize, and also the Ministry of Health launched another toll-free number. I'll also check that as we go on and then send it to the group. Keep the questions coming in the chat section.
I have a question.
Ask.
My name is John Zagabe. I'm glad to be part of this interactive session from Kenyatta University. Then the question is about the app. I think in the presentation, we were not specified about the charges of getting to the therapist. So how much are they being charged after, and how is the mode of payment? All that precision, kindly. Thank you.
Thank you. I can take that question. So, so we currently are charging 1,500 for a session. A session goes to 45 minutes to an hour. So you pay through M-Pesa. So you pay before like booking your appointment. So after confirming your appointment, now you have to pay via M-Pesa so that you can book a slot to talk to your psychologist.
Thank you for that. I understand that toll-free numbers are also available in the app, so that is cool. But we'll also share them in the chat section after this. Remember one thing for all of us as audience, it's good also to share this information with others. Not everyone was available, rather made it to this session for one or two reasons, but it's always good again also to share this information with someone else. Help a friend who was not able to be here with us. As parting shot, and for any other question, make sure you type in the chat section. As parting shot, I want to give Faith around 2 minutes to give us a way, or her last remarks regarding all this, regarding the session, what she thinks is a priority on mental health, and especially among the youth, and the most practical solution that we as youth can play to address the same. Faith.
Thank you, Amos. Again, it's been a wonderful, wonderful time just being here and having these discussions with the youth, and most importantly, having an app. I was so excited. I couldn't wait for when David and Dominic were going to talk about the app, just to have an app that has been developed by the youth for the youth. That's just really amazing. I also want to thank Madam Guinea for one of the things that I was going, as a parting shot, is that we need to learn how to stress management. Yep. And that was very well covered by Madam Guinea when she's saying work-life balance. When you do that and other things she talked about, then you're able to do that very well. You're able to manage your stress very well. And as what is the priority? What can we do? Self-care. Yeah. Self-care is one of the most important things that we have to do, young and old. In our generation and maybe in our culture, we've been brought up to think that being providing yourself self-care means being selfish. Yeah. When Amos wants us to hang out and I tell him, Amos, today I can't because probably I need to just be at home and read a novel, watch TV, it looks very mean. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that I'm tired, I'm emotionally drained, and I just need to fill my cup. So let's practice self-care. Okay. Again, those are things that Madam Guinea also mentioned. But self-care is all those things. Learn to say no. Know when you need to say no. And then also learn to ask for what you want, being assertive about it, and also giving yourself permission to rest, giving yourself permission to not do the things that normally you'll do. So I'll say self-care, and then be okay. It's okay to not be okay, which means that when I'm not okay, I seek help. I go to the app. Yeah, I've agreed that I'm not okay. So let me log on to the app. Let me see the free resources they have. If it's something beyond, sometimes it's something that is more urgent, I need to talk to someone. Let me sign up, let me see, let me talk to a therapist, and let me get help. We can walk together, you guys. We can walk together. That's what as counselors we are offering. That's what we're offering to the youth. Don't keep these things. Let us help you, and we're here for you. Thank you very much, everyone. Back to you, Amos. And thank you for the good feedback. I've read all of it about the presentation. Thank you very much. I have taken note. Back to you, Amos.
Thank you so much, Faith, for this. And I actually also appreciate for your presence, your time. You're so clear, coherent, and precise points and information regarding all this. To Madam Nasongo, Your 2 minutes of a parting shot to us as youths, to also the users of the app and the developers who are here with us. What would you say?
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who was here. I'm really, really humbled. And secondly, the guys behind this app, we're just doing a great job. And just like Faith said, it is okay not to be okay. It is okay. It is okay to seek help, to seek counseling. You are not weak. In fact, you're even stronger by talking about what you're going through. So talk. Let us learn to talk, please. It's only then that we shall be able to get help. It's only then that we shall not be killing somebody. Achika. It is okay to accept that I am different from another person. You know, self-acceptance. Accept yourself the way you are, with your strengths and with your flaws. It is okay. If you're not comfortable with the way you are, seek help. And like I said, we can't all be the same. Talking, by the way, is very, very, very therapeutic. We shall always be there. I've talked about self-acceptance. Accept yourself with what you think are flaws, because maybe they are not even flaws. And finally, I'm begging of you, the guys behind this app, just in the event that somebody is in need and honestly they don't have money or they can't pay, let us have that provision for people who can be supported pro bono, because we are in the helping profession, and it's our joy and pride and happiness actually when we support somebody, because we don't want someone to commit suicide because they could not afford to talk to a therapist. No, we are available. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Madam Ngiri Nasongo. I actually recommend also that. So Dominic, actually take that up. We have professionals who are willing to provide pro bono services on the app. So give them a slot, involve them, and they will offer the service, and that will be available. Because actually that is one of the hugest, most difficult challenge that most have. You want to access a psychologist or a counselor, but at the moment, you're not financially able to do that. And as Madam Nasongo has said, some are willing to provide the pro bono services. So let's have that platform regarding the same. Yelena Stella, what's your parting shot to us, your peers?
First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming, and also thank you to the speakers for sharing with us some of your knowledge. Personally, I think it's important, like they've said, it's okay not to be okay. And don't give up on yourself. Just because you've gone through one bad thing doesn't mean you have a bad life. We all go through things. Some people are just better at hiding them. Some people are more expressive, and it's okay. So just be yourself. And obviously there are people who are out there who will be willing to help you. We're always here as trained psychologists. And Faith and Guinea, you guys are amazing. Please keep doing you. Also, I've noticed female power is in the room. So yeah, anyway, keep safe. And hey, you guys, be safe. COVID is real. It's this wave is stronger, and we need to take care of ourselves and our loved ones. So yeah, keep it real and keep safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella Alana. And also, we also appreciate your presence and taking up this space. As a youth, at least you represented us among the speakers, that we also doing something regarding addressing the same problem that's affecting our peers. To everyone who attended this session, I really appreciate on behalf of the organizers of all this, David, Dominic, Wahoo, and the rest. For our speakers, Stella Alana, Nasongo Ngini, and Faith, we really appreciate your time. We appreciate the preparation. We appreciate the sacrifice that you've made to make sure that these points are not only home, but they're home also in the best way possible. I would kindly request David, if you can hear me, or Dominic, or any other of the organizers of this platform, kindly share a number for a contact person in the chat section, because some of us got in a bit late and didn't access the first part of this webinar. So we'd like to have access to the recorded version. So kindly share your number at the chat section. Also to the audience, there's a form link that has been sent to the chat section also. Kindly forward your feedback so that even when more or rather future webinars regarding the same are brought up, we know how to do it better, to improve on certain areas and what to build on, or rather, what topics would you really like addressed in the next webinar? And also, I don't know how this follow-up will be done, but you guys will also tell us in the group, in the chat section, how do you want a follow-up to be done to the audience? Because I know there was 1,000,001 questions regarding mental health and the related issues. How do we then make sure that all these questions are addressed? But I know David will have that. The contact person, you can always contact that person for follow-up and other additional information and resources. As my parting shot, I always say there's no health without mental health. Even the WHO recognizes that. And again, it's okay not to be okay. And seeking help does not mean that you're weak. Seeking help does not mean that you're damaged or broken. It's normal to seek help. And actually, it's the best definition of normalcy of start health. We've been told, we've launched the app that has just been shared with us, so we can seek help on those platforms. The toll-free numbers, the resources available on the app. Let's make use of the resources available. Make sure you got this information. Your friends, your colleagues, your family also need this information. Let's normalize sharing this information. Without much ado, I appreciate and thank everyone for your time, for the audience, for your time, for being here all along, for making this webinar very conducive, very silent, and very attentive, and for your interaction also in the chat section. Thanks, everyone, and good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye. It was nice being with you.
Bye.
Thank you so much and good night.